Okay, we are playing sequence. And who starts? Me, because I have the three of hearts.
And we like to note that when he starts with the three of hearts, he always wins.
Yes. Now, we started reading Women, Fire, and Dangerous Things.
By George Lakoff.
Lakoff. What categories reveal about the mind? So, first thing, what's cognitive science? Remember?
Yes.
So cognitive science, something to do with the human knowledge, right? They say it's a new field that brings together what is known about the mind from many academic disciplines: psychology, linguistics, anthropology, philosophy, and computer science, right? I think that's why it's really new, because what it's actually doing is gathering like the surface. Let's just say throughout history, knowledge go through a thing they call dichotomy, right? It goes, and then there's a new way of thought that contradicts what was thought before. It's like actually it's an evolution of that thought. And then I think right now we are in a point where this kind of argument, the dichotomy, is not doing much and it's not evolving. It's tumbling on itself. Understand? Let's just say about linguistics, the idea that language, it's initially idea they had that language is formed by a set of rules that are not supposedly universal, right? Language doesn't change in its spirit. It's what again, they say language and speech.
Okay.
Right? Language is this disembodied set of rules that doesn't change. It forms the spirit of whatever language you're speaking. The speech, the talking, the actual is full of flaws. You know,
Right.
it's that's. And then they changed the idea that actually language has presented. It's in the spirit of all those flaws that we see in the surface, in the speech, is actually in the spirit of the kind of this. So they, at some point, I think this happens in other fields of science, right? And then I think now we are in a point that people are saying, let's just cross analyze what we know now, right, from the fields, and see what else we find about the human mind, and how it works, about reality, about truth, because it's always about. And then that's why I say cognitive science is a new field, right, that can do this crisscross. Am I saying it right? Like crisscross about the what is now, what is on the surface, what is the ultimate theory that seems to be valid, and seems so you crisscross them. But then you think, even within the cognitive science, there is this division, right? That's what he says in the beginning, in the
Preface.
Is that how he
Preface.
says?
Yeah.
So he's saying that actually there is a traditional account of the cognitive science that views reason as this disembodied thing. Reason exists like truth. Truth is truth, the independent of the human perception. Like he doesn't use the word transcendental, or observing, understanding the cognition through the way the organism work on its categories, the way that, like in metaphors we live by, how the human categorize things is that what's going to say about the cognition. It's the process, like it's the process that will somehow reveal the truth, right? Let's just say about the mountain. You see so much mountains painted in Bob Ross and everything in movies. What does that say of the human mind somehow? Kind of that. Not that then you can say no, the mountain, the vision of the mountain exists beyond the thinking mechanism, which in this case is human. When they say that he talks about the human or the thinking organism. And I think that thinking organism, is that the human? We're not talking about, because who thinks, right? We're not talking about fish.
No, right.
But then there are computer science. That's why I said cognitive science is new, actually more because of the computer science, because it's there. They see another organism that can also process information like the humans do. Do you understand? right? I'm
Yeah,
just saying,
right.
like, even that dichotomy that you see in linguistics, in the idea of language and speech, they actually see reason as a disembodied thing. Like, it exists. Like, two is two, right?
Okay, right.
Beyond, it doesn't need the human to calculate that quantity, to make a logic. Or that is just a way of explaining the way what two and two actually is, right?
Okay.
Because that, I said two and two because two and two, two plus two equal four is one of the image they use, perhaps to explain this, the idea of cognition in 1984. It sounds a very common, that's the whole thing of this stare. It's a very common concept that you can explain a lot more. The other thing I was thinking about, this cognitive science, right? I don't know if you remember, there is a thing called meta-analysis. Meta-analysis, where you actually, instead of just coming up with your data about a subject, like ours was error correction, you analyzed the data provided by other people who carried a study on error correction, right? Correcting in language. Does that yield a positive result? What kind of data? It's like the cognitive science. You're getting the surface of knowledge, and now you're doing another way of stitching them together and coming up with a new thought, right? And then we're talking about the meta, and that we are living. That's why we remember when we talked about Matrix Resurrection and say it's meta on another level. We are living in the world of meta. So we're living in the world of meta because this is happening. Cognitive science is teaching the top knowledge of all the disciplines. Do you understand it? They're studying. They're not coming up with anything new, with a new dichotomy. There's a new guy with a new dichotomy. No. Do you understand? And they're taking much in consideration now, right? Not the internal mechanism only, like thinking, like in metaphors we live by. How the human mind, conceptualization, gives somehow a better map of how reasoning happen. So that's how you take in consideration the thinking organism. So that's meta. Do you understand that the internet with the meta, they are on the top. They do the meta thing because they have machines that process data from any field of knowledge and put together, and they will do that thing, right? So that is already meta. But now people are more aware of uh, this meta dimension, like that you are aware of yourself. You understand? And that's how meta comes together to explain women, fire, and dangerous things.
That's my card, yeah.
Don't say. The recording, don't say bad words. It's okay. Someone is gonna win.